Welcome to Caregiver SOS On Air, presented by the WellMed Charitable Foundation, with nationally known gerontologist Carol Zernial and award-winning veteran broadcaster Ron Aaron. This program provides health, wellness, and other information for caregivers who are vital to the health and well-being of so many people across our country. And now, here are your hosts, Ron Aaron and Carol Zernial.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Caregiver SOS On Air. I'm Ron Aaron. Carol Zernial, our co-host, is with us. She holds a master's degree in social gerontology, 30 years experience in the field. Carol is the co-chair of the Raise Family Caregiving Advisory Council and serves as executive director of the WellMed Charitable Foundation. And Carol, we've got a great segment today. Music soothes the angry soul and apparently helps a lot of people.
Well, music is one of those magical things in life. I mean, all of us know that you can be transported to someplace else with music. And people with memory problems, people, our own positive memories, I think things we do remember, we associate with music. And, I must know, 2 million songs. And they're probably going to stay with me forever because it's one of the last things you lose. So what a great subject.
I've got a friend who's a writer for the and he often writes about walking through his local grocery store in San Antonio. It's H-E-B, and always notes what songs are playing, and he stops, listens, and then reports on what he's heard.
Yeah, and I actually download songs while at H-E-B because I'll hear music and I'm like, oh, that's a great song, and I'll hit it on my phone and save it.
Well, I love it, and we're going to introduce Amy Standridge. She brings to life the positive benefits of music and humor for the well-being of caregivers who support loved ones living with dementia. Amy will give us some examples of some of the music she uses, and she helps caregivers rediscover the joy and hope needed to build lasting memories with their loved ones. She's a board-certified music therapist, a certified humor professional. We're going to find out how you get certified to be that, and a keynote speaker. And we are delighted, absolutely delighted to have you with us, Amy.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So tell me, how do you become a certified humor specialist?
A certified humor professional. Now I have to be funny, right? So I'll try my best. There's an organization I'm a member of called the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor, AATH. And they have a 3-year master's level kind of certification program. And at the end of the 3 years, you become a certified humor professional. And so I've always just naturally used humor in my work. And now I know why it's effective and how it can bring about all of in a similar way, the outcomes that music does. Increase connection and joy, improve memory and cognition. We remember jokes more than we remember what we had for breakfast. And improves the other areas of health and well-being as well, in a similar way as music. So I love the two together.
That's a good line. You remember jokes better than you remember what you had for breakfast.
All except the punchline, which I always mess up.
But that's funny, Carol, because you don't have to be funny. You just have to be able to see funny and point it out. So, making fun of yourself when you can't remember the punchline is a great way to build connections with other people.
When did you realize you could be funny?
Oh my gosh. When I was in middle school, I guess I was the funny friend. And a lot of it involved music and impressions, and don't ask me to do any, but always bringing music to the table. Everything feels like a song. Everything reminds me of a song, and I like the fun ones the best. And I'll give some examples.
As you consult with caregivers and their families who often don't see the humor in what they're doing, how is it you help them? What do you do?
Well, I think, first of all, I lead by example and I make it okay to experience and express humor. I think, it's really tricky when in such in a situation where you're really in the trenches of caregiving to find the funny. And it's not always funny. And I'm not a Pollyanna. I'm not always trying to make things fun and games, but I like to point out things to my singers and my clients, things that I think are funny. And I think it's great to have a humor buddy. So I would encourage two caregivers maybe to send a funny meme with one another. Dark humor when you're in a really hard place is great to share with other people in the hard place. I wouldn't share it with a caregiver, something really hard, because I'm not in that spot right now. But the two caregivers together in a relationship and a community can kind of send each other those
Carol, I like
messages.
that, a humor buddy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's a terrific idea. And really, I loved the first thing you said, Amy, and it was to kind of give permission to say it's okay to laugh
Hmm.
when you're caregiving, and because so many of us lose our sense of humor or don't find anything funny at all. I can remember we placed my mom in a memory care unit because she had Alzheimer's, and my dad was unhappy at first, and of course the staff mixed up the
Mm.
clothes. And she had never worn shorts in her whole life. And she comes walking out of the room wearing what my dad said, short pants. And he just burst into laughter. He goes, "That is so funny. Look at those short pants. She never wears short pants. That is so funny." And he just laughed and laughed, as opposed to being mad that the laundry was mixed up. He just thought it was hysterical that she's wearing somebody else's short pants.
That's cute. My son used to call them yiddle pants because he couldn't say L, so he would wear yiddle
Yeah,
pants.
the yiddle pants. She had yiddle pants on.
Yeah. And
Of
I
course.
just, yeah. And
Stay with me just a minute. We're going to come right back to you, but I want to let folks know who may have just joined us. You're listening to the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air, our podcast available wherever you get your podcast. We're also on the radio in several cities in Texas and Florida as well. But no matter where you live around the world, you can hear us on a podcast. I'm Ron Aaron. Carol Zernial, our co-host, is with us, and we're talking with Amy Standridge, and she's involved in using music and humor to benefit caregivers and care recipients. So, Amy, talk to me a little bit about the connection with music, because we've often heard that while someone may struggle with dementia, may not have any current memory, but if you go back far enough, they remember music.
hmm Absolutely. And that's one of the areas that I focus on in my work and also my membership, is how music brings back memory and can work on cognition as well. Memory is obviously, I'm never going to ask somebody, hey, do you remember this song? But when I start singing it, chances are that they'll join me and be able to do that. In fact, I go to a memory care community. I was just there yesterday, and they've taught me songs that I didn't know because they know all the words. So it's a really special way for them to share with me and for me to be the recipient of their wisdom. Even though they're quite far in the dementia process, they still have things to offer, especially musically. And then I also find that they laugh a lot. So it's really nice for me because I try to think I'm kind of funny. And so they usually laugh at my antics, which is good for my
How do you,
self-esteem.
how do you introduce music into a caregiving situation? What are your recommendations?
That's a great question. And the first thing that I would do is find out what the person's preferences are. People ask me all the time, what kind of music is good for memory? And I think, well, if somebody hates a song and it comes on, it might spark a memory, but maybe not the one that they want. So I would always get to know first what kind of music the person listened to. Technically, you're supposed to like the music that was popular from the time you were 10 to the time you were 30. This is a fun topic. So that would put me in. I should enjoy 80s music. I don't enjoy 80s music. I like 70s music. I like funk and disco. I like Motown. And so somebody not profiling, that's not what we do. Somebody assessing me and interviewing my needs might go, oh, well, she was born in 1970. I just told on myself. So she must like, I don't know, Wham. Nothing wrong with Wham. But I love the funk and stuff from the 70s. So it just really depends on what the person enjoys. And in my choir, Grace Notes Community Singers, we were called choir, but I think that sounds intimidating. I want people to know that we're not a hands folded and laps choir, but we're a singing group, community singing group. So I like to mix and match the songs that we do. So we do everything from My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, that's from 1920, up through last semester. We did Sweet Caroline, because of course it's really fun for everybody to go,
Ba,
bum,
ba,
bum,
ba,
bum.
ba.
Yeah,
See, I already got it.
yeah,
Well,
you
who
got
doesn't
it.
love Neil Diamond, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really cool. Like in my membership program in my choir group on Fridays, I had some people who say now that they sing with me during the week or like on, Friday mornings when we meet, they sing more often during the week and they're more likely to break out in song, which has not only benefits for memory and cognition, but also emotional expression, communication, relationship, all of those things. So they find that during the week they're inspired to and have the repertoire that we do to interact with each other musically during the week. And I even have one member who said it's fun to make up, and he is living with dementia. And he says it's really fun to make up songs for my wife. It's like a little piece of love.
Oh, that's sweet. So do you have people without memory problems that are in the choir and help go to places where you do find people that are living with dementia?
Yes, and that is amazing. So the choir is for people, and I keep saying choir. I don't want any, like I said, oh no, I'm not in a choir. But you'll hear me sing in a minute, and so you can see I'm not an intimidating singer. But yes, the ideal would be that we would have a caregiver and their loved one living with dementia, and a volunteer for each couple, so that the caregiver can have time to go to the restroom if they need to, can have a little break. Grace Notes Community Singers is unique because it's a chance for caregivers and their loved one with dementia to do something fun and rewarding together. And so they get to experience joy and hope rather than always going to the doctor and receiving bad news. So that's the beautiful thing about the group and the membership program, just really inspiring one another to seek out the joy and hope that music brings. And it does it.
Now, do you do Grace Notes Community Singers on Zoom as well as in person?
Yes, we do.
Because not everybody lives in San Antonio where you live.
They should.
But you do it via Zoom as well.
Absolutely. We do have a Zoom option for sure. It's a little different. But yes, every one of our rehearsals is available on Zoom as well. And so, yes, we do that as well.
Well, we'll get the directions on how to hook up with it in a minute.
Great.
But before we do that, let me again remind folks you're listening to the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air. I'm Ron Aaron, along with our co-host Carol Zernial and our guest Amy Standridge, and we're going to get a sample of the kind of songs that she thinks are effective in communicating not only with caregivers, but with people struggling with dementia as well. You're listening to Caregiver SOS on air. Well, thank you so much for listening to Caregiver SOS on air. We're delighted to have you with us. We come to you every week with a discussion of an issue, a problem, some accomplishments involved in caregiving with more than 60 million caregivers across this country, but most thinking they are the Lone Rangers. We try to bring you the latest information and help that can make that job easier and more manageable. Caregiver SOS on air takes a look at trends across this country. We provide tips on how to be a better caregiver and, most importantly, where you can go for help. On Caregiver SOS on air, we try to give you what you need to make that caregiving manageable and to provide you with the help that can make your life easier. I'm Ron Aaron. Carol Zernial and I are delighted to co-host this program, and we're thrilled you've joined us on the award-winning Caregiver SOS on Air podcast, available everywhere, brought to you by WellMed Charitable Foundation.
Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Really good to see you once again. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Really good to see you once again.
We are so pleased you're staying with us right here on the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air. I'm Ron Aaron, along with our co-host Carol Zernial, and we're talking with Amy Standridge, and we're talking about the role music and humor can play for caregivers in trying to assist a care recipient who may have dementia. And Amy, give us a sample or two of the kind of songs that you think work well for caregivers.
You bet. Well, caregivers, it depends on their age, and caregivers, as we know, are getting younger and younger. So for purposes of your podcast, I will sing songs that are from the public domain because nobody wants to get in trouble with copyright. I'm obsessed with copyright. But like I said before, it just depends on what your caregiver is interested in, what kind of music they like. I'll give some advice. One is I love Spotify. Maybe I shouldn't say that here. I don't know if I'm
No, that's
allowed
okay.
To, but,
You can say that.
Okay, cool. Spotify. And I love using Alexa to pull up music lists. So I'll just say, listen, I like everything that has the word boogie in it. So if I tell Alexa, play Boogie Shoes, she does just what I ask. She'll start it, and then she'll start playing songs that kind of go with that. So I will turn that on, and I'll have a little private dance party by myself in the kitchen. It just picks me up immediately.
Isn't that nice? Alexa does what you ask her.
She does. I have children, so yeah, it's really nice.
Well, in the day when AI takes over, she may not always do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh.
Well, and you can even say greatest hits. My father had Alexa, and it would be, play Frank Sinatra's greatest hits.
Yeah.
And, and he could sit there for an hour and just listen to music.
Absolutely. And that would be something too, like part of my membership, I put together playlists and YouTube playlists of songs that are popular from different decades or styles, and say a caregiver needs to take a shower. Well, they could put a series of YouTube videos that I've personally curated on the screen while they take a shower, and maybe their loved one could listen and watch the video while they do that. Something as simple as giving their loved one a task that they can do while they're taking a little break. Even getting them mail. I know there is so hard to feel like you can take a break safely, and so that would be one way. But for purposes,
in fact, we had someone on recently who went to get the mail, came in the house, and their loved one had disappeared, gone out the door.
Yeah, for sure.
So break out the guitar, Amy.
All right. So for today, I'm going to use some musical examples that have to do with music and humor. At least I think it's funny. The first song I'm going to sing for you, and I hope the caregivers listening and their loved one, if they're there, will sing along. I wanted to give some examples to really bring the joy and hope and lightness of being that I feel like I bring to my singers. So we're going to sing, I forgot what we're going to sing. Oh, Daisy Bell, Bicycle Built for Two. But there is a second verse that you may not know. If you do, good for you. But I'm going to sing Bicycle Built for Two. Here we go.
And you got a toggle switch you need to change?
I did it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm half crazy over the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. If you don't know what she said, stay tuned. Harry, Harry, here is your answer true. I'm not crazy over the love of you. If you can't afford a carriage, there won't be any marriage, for I'll be damned if I'll be crammed on a bicycle built for two.
That's pretty cool. And Carol was singing right along. You're muted,
Yeah.
Carol, but she was singing right along with you.
Yeah. You know, during the...
That's what happens, right?
Absolutely. Almost every time. It's amazing, really. And people go, oh, I don't know the words. Yes, they do when I start singing, because this is a really old song. And like I said, this might not be a song for someone's well-being who's caregiving and they're in their 20s. But it might be somebody whose loved one is in their 70s or 80s, might remember that song from...
Now you got another one?
I did learn the second verse is I'll be twixt if I get hitched on a bicycle built for two.
I know. And I know that one too. And I always, Carol, in my mind, I always go, ooh, can I get away with saying the other
Yours
way?
is more modern sounding. Yours is more modern.
I switch it up. You know, it just depends on who I know is there. I switch it up. Sometimes I say the other version. But yeah, so that's a song, you know, that'll bring back memories. It deals with cognition, because the second verse you're going, wait, what? I didn't know that. So you're using your brain muscles, right, to interpret what the words are saying. You know, music is a whole brain activity, which is why it makes it so powerful, because your whole brain is activated when you're listening to it. And so it also addresses communication and relationships, because people are singing to one another and making eye contact. We sing, the next one I'll do is It Had to Be You. And we sing this one together, and we have couples who, you know, one or the other, the caregiver or their loved one living with dementia, will initiate hand holding. Sometimes they'll kiss. I always say, if you brought them, you could kiss them. If you didn't bring them, I wouldn't. So that always gets a laugh.
Good advice. Good advice.
Yeah. But this is a more sort of a more modern kind of love song. And so we're talking about, you know, communication and relationships. You know, you might know this one. It Had to Be You. This was made popular in movies, but it really is from the 1920s, mid-20s. But all right, this is a real sweet one. Again, caregivers or your listeners, if you want to sing along, nobody can hear you, so you should make a joyful noise. Here we go. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, and even be sad just to be glad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
Now, for those of you who've just tuned in, you're listening to the first Caregiver musical half hour. We're delighted to have Amy Standridge with us. Carol Zernial, our co-host, is here. I'm Ron Aaron. And Amy is one who brings humor and music to caregiving for caregivers and folks struggling with dementia. But it doesn't just have to be dementia, right?
Right. We've had people with Parkinson's, which obviously comes with dementia. Sometimes healthy aging will come. Music is a great way to continue to have a healthy brain while you're aging and typical aging processes. We've had people come to our group with other disabilities. You know, we are mostly older folks, so with more of the neurodegenerative diseases. But gosh, we have a lot of fun. When you come, you won't easily be able to look around and go, oh, that person has dementia, that person doesn't, because we really do make an equal playing field when we sing together. And I wanted to point out, I made a little error in my lyrics on that last song. And that's one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand is fine. As long as you're singing and have fun and you mess up some of the words, nobody cares. And your loved one will not. Well, it depends on the relationship. They likely won't care. You know, it's that moment of connection that you've brought that's more important than, oh, you used the wrong word there, you know.
So I didn't catch it. What did you do?
I said, I don't know, there's a lot of rhymes in here, and I said something like, I don't know, I said the same thing, saying the same thing twice.
Yeah. It always, well, you know, I think it's such a good reminder, not only to have fun and to listen to music, but you also said something else about it can give you a few moments. Music can give you respite. A song can be that break where you do get to go to the mail. You do get to make yourself a snack. You get to do something that you need to do, make a phone call, make an appointment, that you just feel like you can't get away. And if you got a greatest hits going, you might even have a full 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And for those, Amy, who are listening, who say, you know, Amy plays guitar, she knows how to sing. I can't do that. But you mentioned earlier there's technology that can bring that to you and to your loved one.
Absolutely. And I sing, I think I have a nice singing voice, but I'm not going to give a concert. You know, I'm not a professional singer, not a performing singer. I think you can gain a lot of confidence, but you got to do it. You have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and do it. And I know I don't want to ask people who are already in the throes of hard situations to do something else, but I mean, you never know. You might like it when you try it. So using your voice more often will make you a stronger singer. I've been singing and playing guitar for 25 years. And like you said, also sing along with the radio. YouTube has lots of karaoke songs that have even the words come up, and that's fun. And then you have the background music, etc. So you don't need to be able to do any of those things. And, you know, they say make a joyful noise for a reason. You know, no one's paying you to, sing along with the radio, but it will bring joy, and it brings health benefits also. Now,
we've got about a minute left, and I don't want to leave out, first of all, how do folks get a hold of you? And if they want to participate in your program, what does that cost?
Great. Well, I have a Substack where as a paid membership on Substack, it costs $80 for a month. That pays for 2 couples to attend our live rehearsals. So it is a paid, Grace Knows Community Singers now, funded by Oak Song Music Therapy, is a paid group, but we have scholarships available, and we are always searching for people who want to join us in our mission to empower families to living with dementia to experience that joy and hope that comes from uplifting music experiences. So, and you have a website for Oak Song Music Therapy? So I do. I would send you to my Substack instead. It functions like a website for me. And so that's just my name, Amy Standridge.substack.com.
And you know there are a lot of people listening who have no idea what a Substack is.
It's a weekly newsletter that people sign up for. You can get a free version. Every version that I send out has one application that you can use for free on engaging with
Perfect.
music. Yeah.
We're out of time. Got to stop you here. Fascinating program. Thank you so much, Amy Standridge. Carol Zernial, thank you for being here. We appreciate our co-host. I'm Ron Aaron. We'll talk with you soon on the award-winning Caregiver SOS On Air. The executive producer for Caregiver SOS On Air is Daniel Calderon. The producer is Sharice Pendleton. And the associate producer is Catherine Oglesby. We'll see you next week on Caregiver SOS On Air.
You've been listening to Caregiver SOS On Air, an exclusive presentation of the WellMed Charitable Foundation. We welcome emails with suggestions and comments on this program at radio@wellmed.net. Join co-hosts Carol Zernial and Ron Aaron next week for more on caregiving, improving the health and well-being of caregivers and their care recipients everywhere. For more on caregiving and podcasts of our programs, visit caregiversos.org.